first pee after you had your first child.
Oh, man. They don't let you do anything till you pee.
Oh my gosh. I had just had Stella, so like my insides are ripped open. I'm bleeding like a mofo. She's like, you have got to pee. And I'm like, lady, listen. I don't have to pee.
Because you're going to pee. Pee or you go nowhere?
No, I was in so much pain. I was shaking on the toilet. My legs were literally like this. Literally, and I'm like, listen, lady. I'm like, I don't know if this is like precautionary or what the deal is, but I'm like, you gotta let me go. Like, I don't have to pee. I could just get into the details, but it was too much.
Why do these mean labor and delivery nurses make you pee when you don't feel like you gotta go? Lots of reasons. Let's get into it. When you have a babe, vaginally, there's a lot of stuff that happens down there, right? You could have had an epidural. You could have not had an epidural. But regardless, stuff happened, right? And after you have a baby, you can get something called urinary retention. There's a couple different reasons that you could get urinary retention. One would be from swelling, right? When you put something through there, the tissues can kind of get a little swollen, and that can make it very difficult for you to pee. Another reason, if you've had an epidural, sometimes it takes a minute for our brain and our bladder to get the communication back together, because you can't feel that stretch of your bladder like you need to pee when you don't have the epidural. So there's 3 types of urinary retention. One is called overt, which means you just can't go, right? Nothing's coming out. Number 2 is covert, which means that you pee a little bit, but you do not fully empty your bladder. And the third is persistent, meaning that after a few days, you still feel like you can't pee. But early detection of urinary retention will prevent you from having major pelvic floor problems. So in this article from this year, if left untreated, postpartum urinary retention can lead to repetitive overdistension, meaning your bladder keeps getting stretched, injury that may damage the detrusor muscle, which helps you pee, and the parasympathetic nerve fibers within the bladder wall. Your bladder can even explode. Very rare for that to happen, okay? Because we got your back, okay? We nurses have got your bladder's back. Early diagnosis and timely intervention are necessary to decrease long-term consequences. So if you have a baby and you don't feel the urge to pee, that tells me that you may be retaining urine and not even realize it. Because our kidneys are constantly making urine, okay? And if you have urine in your bladder that you aren't getting out, not only can it cause you big trouble with your bladder in your pelvic floor, but you know what else it can also do? It can also put you at risk for something called postpartum hemorrhage, which is where after you have a baby, your uterus cannot fully contract down because the bladder is in the way, right? And you can begin to bleed and bleed a lot, which is why we try to get the pee-pee out of your bladder in order to prevent a postpartum hemorrhage. So if you get an epidural, right, whenever you have the baby, we turn the epidural off. So you're slowly going to get back the feeling that you had before. But in those first couple hours after you have a baby, when you're highest risk for a postpartum hemorrhage, it's important that we make sure that your bladder is empty. And I'll get plenty of people up to the bathroom and tell them, okay, I need you to try to pee. And they say, I don't have to go. I've got nothing in there. And you heard that sweet friend.
I don't have to pee.
Meanwhile, her nurse knows that there's pee in there. So if she was not able to pee at all, that would be overt urinary retention due to either swelling down there, like it won't come out, or like brain bladder connection isn't there yet. And we also heard,
I'm bleeding like a mofo,
which is another great indication that she needed to pee. She just didn't realize it. So if you get up and you try to go to the bathroom and nothing is coming out, you have a few different options. One, we can keep trying, right? Sometimes putting peppermint oil in a little hat, we call it hat, but in the toilet, that the fumes of the peppermint cooling on your lady lips can talk your pee-pee hole into doing what it needs to do. I like to run the water. I also like to shut the door because I can't pee if somebody's staring at me. Give them some time. Sometimes also a peri bottle, like the little squirty thing, running that over your pee-pee hole can help encourage things to move along. We can also bladder scan you. So like we can scan your bladder to see how much pee you actually have in there. But if you have pee-pee in there and it won't come out, we'd have to do a little in and out catheter. Meaning that we put a catheter in there, drain your pee, and then it comes right back out. But that is only to prevent you from having real bad complications. I've cathed people on the toilet. Okay, I just say, lean back, sweet friend. I got you. And then go. That's not what pee sounds like. That's the water. That's the pee hitting the toilet, and then it comes right back out. Also, if you start hemorrhaging, our first thought is, when was the last time you peed? I remember my nurse getting me up to the bathroom, and I'm looking at her like, what are we doing here? Because I did not have to pee. But guess what? I did. There was stuff in there that needed to come out. So that's why
They don't let you do anything
No.
to pee.